What is going on, guys? Welcome to your second tutorial in Java game development. And in this tutorial I'm going to be actually finishing up the last tutorial where we pretty much are going to finish creating a thread. And well, let's just go ahead and get started. So actually we need a main method in this, so let's go ahead, and I probably should have done that before, but I can do it now. Public static void main string, come on Haas, args, and let's go ahead and put main method right there. So in our main method, again, I should have done that before, but oh well, you guys got some time. What you need to do in order to make threads is call caps lock on, yep, the thread class. Go ahead and put thread and then name your thread. I'm going to name my T1 and set it equal to new thread. But as your parameter for this thread class, you have to write the object that you want to treat as a thread. So new apple, remember I made this apple class right here that we're going to be treating as a thread, and the constructor took a parameter and I'm going to name it 1. So this thread that has the variable T1 is going to be named 1. So let's go ahead and make 2 more right now. Again, we're going to be creating 3 threads from the same class, and I'm going to name this one T2 and the variable T3, and the thread's name is going to be 2 and 3. And if you're wondering why I'm typing 1, 2, 3, it's because this apple constructor, remember, we passed it in a string variable to give it a name right there, and then upon construction of the object it creates a random time. So now that we have a thread, this pretty much means each of these things, instead of running right after another like they would if they were just a regular object, they can all run at the same time. So before we learned about threads, whenever we created a new apple class, it would have to do the constructor and do everything it did first before moving on to this one, and then after that it moved on to this one. But now that we have 3 threads, instead of one long program in essence, this is 3 things running at the same time, so it gets done 3 times as fast as it usually would. So now that we have a thread, we need to start it. So whenever we call start, the objects or the threads run is automatically going to be called. We don't have to call run. All we have to do is call start, and any code in here in the threads run is going to automatically be called. So how do we do that? All we do is T1 dot start right there, and this is going to start the thread, or in other words start the code in here. So T1, just copy this, T2 and T3. And why did I make this random time? Well, I'll show you right in a second. If I go ahead and click as application, run it, and I forgot to put a new line right here, embarrassing, and now let me demonstrate that again. It says 1 is sleeping for 419, 3 is sleeping for 876, and 2 is sleeping for 189. And if you're saying, alright, why doesn't it just go 1, 2, 3? Well, that's because your computer doesn't do it it doesn't have to do it when you're creating threads in order, one right after another, and that's the beauty of threads. These pretty much start all at the same time. I mean, there's a little bit difference, but in essence they all start at the same time. And why did I put how long it sleeps for? Because when a thread sleeps, it pretty much does nothing but wait there. It doesn't pull a burden on your CPU processor at all. It just sits there and waits there, and it pretty much allows for other stuff to happen. So if you're saying, alright, when this thread gets done, I want you to sleep and wait for other threads. So when 2 is sleeping, it pretty much is just sitting there and chilling. So that's why when it sleeps for a 10th of, or excuse me, like a 20th or 0.18 of a second, then this one gets done sleeping first. The next one to wake up is thread number 1 because it slept a medium amount of time. But 3, it was lazy and decided to sleep the longest. That's why 3 got done running so late. So again, what I want to demonstrate is, instead of going right after another, 1, 2, 3, these things run pretty much all at the same same time, so it's pretty much randomized what one is going to appear first. And this is also random, and I want to display this because this says while it's sleeping, it allows other threads to continue doing what they do. So this is kind of the beauty of threads, one more time, that you can have multiple things running at the same time, and this speeds up your program. That's all I want to explain for this tutorial. There is a ton more to go over in threads, but for the sake of this tutorial, that's all we need to know for now. As we continue programming in games, we'll learn later, and even if this doesn't make sense now, when I start using it in a game, sometimes these just examples using it can be kind of confusing because it doesn't really do anything. It's just an example. But trust me, you'll see why this is useful later on. But I needed to give you guys a quick intro, or else I would never forgive myself for it. So that's all you need to know about threads for now. If you want to learn more, then go to Java website or something, or just wait for my tutorials. But for now, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to check out the next tutorial where we will be pretty much building our very first beginning of a Java game. So thank you again. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.